Well, hello family and welcome to the show. Today is going to be quite an interesting episode because we're going to be looking at how to get it right when you purchase property here in Kenya. Inspired of also partly by chapter 4 of Building in Kenya right over here, and we want to look at how to get it right, the processes, the due diligence, as this being our toolkit to doing that. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We realize lots of you are getting duped and some fraudulent activities are happening whenever you're purchasing land, and we're going to show you how to just get it right. Come along. Welcome to the show, folks. Brilliant. Now, what you need to know when you're buying land in Kenya. Now, we're going to start from the very obvious to the less obvious ones. And number one, the one thing that you need to make sure that you have in check is that you have finances in order. Why do I say this? It seems a bit obvious, but once you start your project, you don't want any delays, you don't want any go-slows, you want everything to just flow and be just right. So the very first thing that you need to make sure is that your finances are in order, because development is a tumultuous task. It's a lot. So you need to ensure that you properly bankrolled and ensure that you have your finances in check. Number two, you want to have an entity and establish what sort of entity is going to be purchasing the property. Is it going to be an individual? Is it going to be a SACCO? Is it going to be a limited company? You want to find this or establish this, as different laws apply to different entities. Now, if your company has foreign shareholding, you're going to have one or two complications. Number one, you may not be able to purchase agricultural property. That may not be applicable to you because that's not something that applies to the law of Kenya, that a foreign investor can own agricultural land. Secondly, if you purchase property as a company that has foreign shareholding, it automatically reverts to leasehold to not more than 99 years. So you want to keep that in mind when you're purchasing your piece of land. The third thing that you want to find out and establish when you're buying land in Kenya, this is something that all of you have heard about. Again, some of these things are obvious, but it's very good to emphasize about some of these items. Location is very key when you're purchasing property. Of course, if you get a good location that's sought after, you're able to get a higher return on investment. So make sure you get a very good location. Now, the fourth thing that you want to look at, which is land characteristics. I'll just give a short form there. Land characteristics. Now, you want to know about your land characteristics. Very first thing, you want to know the soil. What sort of soil are you working with? If you're working with red soil, that's good. That's easy to excavate. That is perfect. But then again, if you're working with black soil, that's going to be difficult to excavate. And in fact, you can even use that as a negotiation tool when you're negotiating on price, because you'll be like, boss, to excavate this will cost me X amount. So you could use that as a negotiation strategy. Another characteristic that you need to look at is steepness of the property. How steep is the property? Now, if it is steep, architects love that kind of stuff. It's a challenge for architects. They love that sort of complexity and coming up with a very funky, nice design when they're putting up a development. But if it is flat, it costs you less vis-a-vis a property that is steep. And then, of course, the last characteristic on this is access. You want to make sure that the land has access. Now, a couple of things to note with access. You want to make sure you're close to a road that's accessible, and even when you're driving into the site, that it's wide enough to sort of have everybody use this road to access this particular property. Now, once you get to the property and you're at the entrance of the property, you want to make sure two things are taken care of. If that property has under 20 individuals who are living in this site, or 20 properties in this site, you want to ensure that the width of the entrance is 9 meters wide. All right? 9 meters wide. If the development has more than 20 residential units within the property, then you want to ensure that the access to the property has a width of 12 meters wide. All right, good. You with me? Kaprende? See. Now, the sixth thing that you want to look at is planning. Permissions. Why planning permissions? Family, you want to ensure that these are taken care of, and you also want to make sure that you go to the right professionals all through this process. Ensure you have the right professionals. So talk to the physical planner who's going to apply to the national county to find out a couple of things for you. At the bare minimum, he should find out two things for you. One, he should change the use of this property from agricultural use to residential. And then secondly, he should find out for you the amount of years left on the lease for this particular property that you want to buy. Now, these are costs that you're going to incur. They're sought after. So you sort of want to also have in your contract an agreement on who's going to be catering for some of these costs. And if it's you, it still gives you leverage to purchasing at a better price. Go ahead. So what you're saying is they have a particular rate. What rates should we expect from, let's say, a physical planner? Fantastic question. Now, with a physical planner, ensure you get a good professional. You'd be looking at about 5,000 to 100,000. Now, which is not too bad, because according to the Haas Index, if I also pull out this book, Eastleigh land goes for 296 million, Donholm land goes for about 70 million, Muthaiga 148 million, Ridgeways 75 million, Upper Hill 551 million, you go into Limuru 21 million, Ngong 20 million, Ruaka 86 million, Ruiru 24, Tigoni 23 million. Now, why I emphasize all of these prices is because if you're looking at this as a steep expense, you sort of want to rather lose that than lose those sort of figures. So always get a professional when you're doing these things, and you'll be halfway there. Now, we're about done. This brings us to our next point. You want to look at your boundaries. Now, how do you establish your boundaries? Boundaries would be checked with your land surveyor. Land surveyor is going to tell you where your plot reaches, the boundary walls of your property on the deed plan. They want to sort of give you advice whether this particular property that you're going to buy, does it encroach onto the neighbor's property? Is it on riparian land? These are the fellows who give you all of that information. So I've got a question. What about the land surveyor? How much would the land surveyor charge? A very good question. Now, approximately, you'd be looking at about 50, 150, 200,000. Now, why I say this is because what a surveyor would charge for quarter an acre is different from what a surveyor would charge for 2 acres. The purpose as to what you want to also use this particular property for. Do you want to put up a petrol station? Do you want to put up a residential unit? These are the sort of things that you want to also establish, and that will inform also the price that you're going to pay when you're paying your land surveyor. Now, you want to make sure you also have the right professional when you're purchasing land. That is the last thing, and I can't emphasize this enough, that you have the right professional. So you want to ensure that you've got a good lawyer to take care of also your matters when it relates concerning real estate. You don't want your oil and gas lawyer to be dealing with your conveyancing matters. You want to ensure that you have somebody who is well versed in real estate matters and can identify loopholes a bit quicker within the system. Now, get the right professionals whenever you're doing this. Some of you may be wondering, it could be a bit expensive whenever you're purchasing land if you have to involve of all of these professionals, but you always want to be sure and you want to be safe. They say a stitch in time saves 9, so you want to make sure that's the case for you and you have it all hanky-dory. Now, we're going to have a conversation with a lawyer to tell us about how to ensure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted when you're buying land. The exact step-by-step process now when you're dealing with the contractual work, how to purchase property in Wakili, a quick one section. Stay tuned for this and more. Here we are. Esther,
Hey,
how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome to MMC.
Tumekaribika MNC?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Briefly introduce yourself.
My name is Esther Umulele.
Yes.
I'm the managing partner here at MMC. I have been a real estate lawyer for 20 years now. A long time.
Okay.
MMC is a full service law firm. Our biggest practice is real estate. Yeah, so we have a large real estate department. We act for several developers.
Okay.
We've done so for very many years. I think for the past 20 years now.
Brilliant. Now I want to look at the processes of buying land. What's the process to doing that?
I think buying land, let me start by saying, it's a very emotional process. So it needs to, first of all, be handled very carefully and be handled by the right partner. So you need to look for the right professional who will guide you through the process, right from the process of identification of the property, because that's where it all starts. The right property experts or agents would then tell you you're actually dealing with a good seller or a correct seller or not, right? So that's where it all begins, identification of the property. So once you're happy with the property that you would like to purchase, the next thing is now the conduct of due diligence.
Okay.
And why due diligence?
Yes.
So a property may look very good on the face of it. So you look at a house, it looks perfect. It's everything that you've always wanted. But then again, who owns it in terms of who's the seller? The tenure, assuming you're buying a house for 50 million shillings, and the term is a leasehold term for, say, 20 years. Then you see you need to be very careful how you negotiate the price, because the time you have left on your house or that particular property is very short. So due diligence will help you determine what the tenure is. It will also help you to determine what rates, what land rents are payable in terms of the taxes around it. You'll also be able to determine whether there are any encumbrances on the property.
Yes.
And by encumbrances, really what I mean is, has the seller mortgaged the house perhaps or the property to a lender or a third party, right? And if that has happened, then there will be an encumbrance registered against that title. Because if you buy a property which is encumbered, then it means you're also inheriting the encumbrance that comes with it. So proper, detailed due diligence
is very key.
It's very key. That will help you uncover all of that.
Okay.
Now, who does the due diligence?
Yes.
The best people to do due diligence for you are lawyers.
Okay.
Because of the training that they have and the familiarity they have with those particular processes. So they'll be able to unearth all those questions that you may have around the property.
Yes.
The next step is contracting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in most instances, the contract or the agreement for sale is prepared by the lawyer for the seller.
Okay.
So they'll draft and they'll set out in the contract what it is that the seller would like captured in that agreement.
Okay.
And then that agreement is sent to you as the buyer of the property. And it's at that point where you then send it to your lawyer so that your lawyer can also review it
Yes.
to confirm whether the terms are suitable for your particular circumstances. And here perhaps we can begin to go into what goes into the contract and what you should be looking out for. First thing is the price, right? So what are you happy to buy it at? Is it 50 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 5? Is it 2 million? Is it 100 million? Whatever it is that you think is the right price.
Okay.
Now, price is a factor of what the seller would like to sell the property at, but it's also a factor of what you think as a buyer is the value of the property.
Okay.
So now there may be a step there that you may need to probably think about, but it depends on maybe the flexibility of the seller. Do you want to do a valuation of the property?
Yes.
To determine whether the price you've been offered is good enough, or is it too high?
Yes.
You know, if it's too low, then okay, perfect.
Okay.
But is it very high, right?
And does the buyer also get a chance to do a valuation?
You would have to negotiate with the seller to allow your value access to the property.
Okay.
So if you're selling, then definitely you need to know what the market valuation is, so that then you sell it at at a value that is commensurate to what the market is sort of asking for. So then you're also able to achieve a sale. If you're a buyer, again, if you can get the seller to allow you access to the property for purposes of valuation, it will be perfect.
Even better.
Even better, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so assuming your values have ticked off both on the seller side, buyer side, you're happy with that, then what next? What are the terms of payment?
Yes.
Are you borrowing money from a bank or a lender or even your circle? You know, how are you going to fund that? Or do you have savings where you pay for the property in cash? So what's that conversation? So what I always tell my clients, whether you're on the seller side or the buyer side, is that before you agree either to sell or you agree to purchase, there has to be clarity as to where the funding is coming from.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you have to have sufficient funding. You don't just go. Yeah.
Yes. So if you're a buyer,
have
you spoken to your lender and have they given you an indication that yes, they will fund you for the balance if you don't have the full amount?
Okay.
And for the seller, are you confident enough that this buyer is actually going to complete?
Yes.
And why is that key from the seller perspective?
Okay.
Is because when you enter into an agreement and you sign it off, then for the period or for the term before completion, there's exclusivity to that particular purchaser.
Okay.
So if you've agreed to complete in 90 days, it means you're locked with that particular person for 90 days.
Yes.
So if they're going to they don't know how they'll complete, it means you've also lost 90 days within which you could have found another buyer. Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And then for the buyer, the risk becomes that in the event of default, you may be required to forfeit some money to the seller, right? So most contracts will provide for a 10% forfeiture. Now, you know, if you haven't thought it through and 90 days later you can't complete or whatever the completion period is, then there's the risk that you actually lose money because you forfeit that to the seller to compensate for the time loss, you know, that they would have been marketing to other people. So actually the disadvantage is more to the buyer than it is to the seller.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think something else to think about is what's the quantum of the deposit, right?
Yes.
So typically a 10%.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Could be higher because this is a negotiated term. So this is not like a statutory amount or percentage. It's really a negotiated term. Could be 10%, could be 20%. So really what is it that you and your seller
agree on?
Assuming you're buying an office, right? And there's a tenant. no harm in agreeing to taking over the tenant.
Tenant as well.
Unless you think that the terms upon which the lease has been issued are not very good, and you want to renegotiate. So it depends really.
So you come to the lawyer, somebody from diaspora has come to you. How do you ascertain? Property is 50 million, 10 million. Is there an order? What happens then?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have what we call the Advocate's Remuneration Order,
Okay.
which is a scale that sets out fees that lawyers should charge for a transaction, either sale or purchase of property.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So it's calculated on the basis of that scale.
What about DD, due diligence? Is there an order for that? Like you've come to you and
If you want a comprehensive due diligence that speaks to everything, you know, gives you a historical search.
Yeah.
It looks through the boundaries of the property, tells you whether it's within a road reserve or not, or whether it encroaches on riparian land, then that will be a little more expensive because you have to engage the lawyer will have to engage a surveyor to come on site and map all of that information, then give you a comprehensive due diligence.
Which is still advisable because, I mean, if you're going to be spending millions of money, of shillings rather, you might as well.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Essentials of a good contract.
It takes us back to just the law of contract, basic law of contract. So one, there has to be consideration, right? Now, the rule about consideration is that it could be whatever number. So it's whatever you negotiate. But if you have a contract without consideration, then it is voidable. It doesn't stand as a contract in the first place. Then the other thing is about the completion period. When do you intend to complete? Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? What is it? The other thing is about when you have the completion meeting, what will you exchange for what, So is it documents for money? Is it an undertaking by a lender for documents to facilitate registration? Then the other thing is about execution, the sign off. So if the property is owned by an entity or there's an entity that is purchasing, then you must ensure that the way the document is signed or the contract is signed is proper. So execution is a significant element when it comes to the validity of a contract. So it's got to be properly executed. Then if you're signing as an individual, you need to have it witnessed, right? So assuming you're signing and you're out of the country, then you would need to have that contract notarized. So you'd have to go before a notary and they notarize it for you. The alternative is to go before the consular in your specific, like if you're Kenya, you go to the Kenya embassy in, let's say, the UK.
I see.
The consular is actually permitted to witness a signature. But I think the easier one, of course, would be a notary. Because those are lawyers, they would be able to read the contract, advise you on it, and then witness the contract. So those are some of the elements.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
As a parting shot, anything that you'd like to advise our viewers who are watching, who want to buy land, anything that you want to say that I haven't been able to ask you?
So maybe to address those who may be away or wanting to buy property and you're not resident in the place where the property is situated, I would say that because property is not one of those things that you can buy and return. It's not like this pen where I can take it today and tomorrow I drop it. Where possible, work with. In fact, not where possible. You should work with the right teams of professionals if yourself you're not available to come to view it yourself. So ideally you should view it yourself. But if you cannot view it for whatever reason, then make sure that you're working with credible people, credible professionals who will guide you through the process. So as I said, start with a good property expert
Yes.
who will take you to the right properties. Then work with a good lawyer who has a good reputation, who has done what it is that they're advising you on for significant period of time and therefore can be trusted. When it comes to signing of documents, make sure they are witnessed by the right people. Just really take your time.
Yeah.
Don't be in a
Don't
rush.
rush.
Don't rush.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
rush. Property
yeah.
is not going anywhere.
It's not.
It's not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
just get it right and do it right.
Get it right and do it right.
And do it right. Yeah.
Super. Get it right and do it right. Thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Sure.
Really appreciate it.
Yep.
Is it coincidence? We all have black and beige jackets. Great man. So there you have it from Esther, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that was an invigorating conversation with the lawyer on just how to buy land here in Kenya. Very exciting episode. Keep it property focused next time for more on property, real estate and architecture. My name is Peter Ngigi, signing off. Sayonara.